October 14th, 2024, 3:14 a.m. A windowless basement apartment in Bucharest, Romania. The room smells of cold espresso grounds and ozone from overtaxed cooling fans. Outside, a light rain slicks the asphalt of Sergei Vasilovich Street. Inside, 32-year-old Julian Vance stares at a monitor displaying 24 lines of raw, uncompiled C++ code. His left index finger taps a rhythmic, silent beat against the edge of his mechanical keyboard. Tap, tap, tap. It is a nervous habit he developed as a teenager in Auckland, long before he became the most dangerous ghost in the global financial architecture. Julian does not look like a man about to alter the geopolitical map of the South Pacific. He wears a faded gray hoodie with frayed cuffs. He has a slight hunch from a decade spent leaning into the glow of high-resolution displays. His eyes are bloodshot, tracking a flashing green cursor. To the few people who think they know him, Julian is a quiet, somewhat pedantic freelance cybersecurity consultant. He takes contracts from mid-tier European logistics firms. He fixes broken firewalls. He cashes modest checks. But Julian has a secret. He possesses an absolute, almost religious contempt for the concept of the modern nation-state. To him, governments are simply bloated, inefficient legacy systems running on obsolete code. They are slow. They are arrogant. Most importantly, they are fragile. For 3 years, Julian has looked for a specific kind of leverage. He did not want to steal money to buy supercars or villas in Monaco. He viewed wealth not as an end, but as raw energy. He wanted to see if a single, disciplined mind could use that energy to rewrite the rules of physical sovereignty. On this specific Tuesday morning, the leverage is finally ready. The target is not a bank. Banks have active threat hunting teams, immediate fail-safes, and political backing that triggers international law enforcement within minutes. Instead, Julian targeted the automated clearinghouse of a major maritime shipping conglomerate based in East Asia. This specific firm handles the customs, escrow accounts for 40% of the cargo moving through the deep water ports of the Southern Hemisphere. The security flaw he exploited was not sophisticated. It was a classic supply chain vulnerability. A third-party software vendor providing maintenance logs for container cranes had left an unauthenticated debugging port open on an internal server. Julian found it 6 months ago. He did not move. He did not run scans. He simply watched, mapped the network, and waited for the right moment. Now he presses the Enter key. The script executes in 1.4 seconds. It deploys a customized polymorphic strain of ransomware across the shipping firm's primary Active Directory. But the ransomware is a diversion. It is the loud, smoky explosion at the front door, designed to draw every security engineer into the fire conference room. While the corporate defenders scramble to restore backups, Julian's real payload operates in absolute silence in the background. An automated series of smart contracts triggers on a decentralized ledger. The escrow accounts begin draining. The money does not move in one massive lump sum. It breaks into thousands of tiny streams, dissolving into the digital ether. How much did he take? By 4 a.m., the total stands at $184 million. The money is gone before the shipping company even realizes their internal phones are down. It flows directly into a complex, pre-programmed labyrinth of privacy-focused cryptocurrencies. Julian uses automated atomic swaps, bypassing centralized exchanges entirely. The funds bounce across 3 separate non-custodial blockchains, blending with millions of dollars of legitimate, daily peer-to-peer transaction volume. Julian shuts down his monitor. He does not celebrate. He does not pour a drink. He walks to the small sink, washes his face with cold water, and looks at himself in the mirror. His face is pale, completely devoid of expression. He tells himself that the easy part is over. The digital world is clean, predictable, and logical. The physical world is loud, chaotic, and violent. That is where he is going next. 2 weeks later, the air in Port Vila is thick, smelling of salt, decaying vegetation, and aviation fuel. Julian steps off a charter flight carrying a single leather duffel bag and a passport issued under the name of Thomas Blake. a fictitious agricultural investment analyst. Julian's destination is not this bustling port city. His target lies 400 miles to the northeast, a fictional archipelago known in regional maritime charts as the Maruka Atolls. Maruka consists of 3 main volcanic islands and a scattering of low-lying coral reefs. On paper, it is an independent territory with a population of roughly 22,000 people. In reality, it is a ghost state. The central administration collapsed 3 years prior, following a catastrophic cyclone and the subsequent bankruptcy of its primary copra and fishing export monopolies. The local police force numbers fewer than 80 men, armed with rusted bolt-action rifles and 2 unserviceable patrol boats rotting at a concrete pier. The capital town, Olo, is a grid of unpaved roads and corrugated tin roofs clustered around a deep-water lagoon. The lagoon is the true prize. It is a perfectly sheltered natural harbor, capable of accommodating large cargo vessels, entirely hidden from the main commercial shipping lanes of the Pacific. Julian rents a small, concrete bungalow on the edge of Olo. The locals assume he is another eccentric white tourist looking to buy cheap land or hide from tax authorities back home. He encourages this perception. He spends his days sitting on the veranda, wearing a faded linen shirt, drinking local beer, and typing on a ruggedized laptop connected to a satellite terminal. Through the screen, Julian begins the process of breathing physical life into his digital millions. To build an army in the 21st century, you do not hire mercenaries in smoky bars. You do not deal with shadowy men in trench coats. You use the dark web's decentralized logistics networks. You treat violence like a procurement problem. His first hire is a man named Marcus Vance. No relation, though Julian appreciated the irony of the pseudonym. Marcus is a 45-year-old former logistics officer from a private military corporation that operated in sub-Saharan Africa during the late 2010s. Marcus understood the practical mechanics of moving restricted hardware across international borders without raising red flags in Washington, London, or Beijing. Julian meets Marcus not in person, but through an encrypted, end-to-end routing protocol running over an Onion network chat server. Julian's offer is simple: $10 million in stablecoins, held in an escrow account, payable upon the delivery of specific hardware and personnel to the coordinates of the Maruka Lagoon over the next 6 months. Marcus is skeptical at first. He asks for a demonstration of financial capability. Julian responds by sending a single transaction hash. Marcus checks the ledger. He sees a wallet address containing more liquidity than most small European defense ministries. The contract is sealed. The strategy is one of complete asymmetry. Julian has no interest in buying heavy, expensive, and easily trackable conventional weapons. He does not need tanks, fighter jets, or heavy artillery. In the narrow, forested valleys and isolated coastlines of Maruka, those weapons are liabilities. They require massive logistical tails, specialized mechanics, and constant fuel supplies. Instead, Julian focuses on the weapon that leveled the playing field for the modern insurgent: the autonomous drone. Using shell companies registered in Delaware, Singapore, and Mauritius, Marcus begins purchasing commercial, heavy-lift agricultural quadcopters. These are not toys. They are industrial-grade machines designed for precision spraying of crops over hundreds of acres. They can carry a payload of 40 pounds. They have a flight time of 45 minutes. They are completely legal to export anywhere in the world. In a covert assembly facility inside a rented warehouse in the industrial suburbs of Bangkok, a team of 4 rogue aerospace engineers, hired by Marcus for $50,000 a week each, begins modifying the drones. They strip away the agricultural spraying rigs. They replace the commercial GPS modules with high-grade, multi-frequency GNSS receivers that are highly resistant to electronic jamming. They rewrite the core firmware, installing an open-source, decentralized swarm intelligence algorithm that Julian developed himself during his years in Bucharest. This algorithm is the heart of Julian's military concept. The drones do not require individual pilots sitting with radio controllers. They communicate with each other via a localized peer-to-peer mesh network. If you launch 50 drones, they act as a single, distributed organism. If 10 are shot down, the remaining 40 automatically recalculate the formation, redistribute the search area, and press on toward the target. To turn these machines into lethal assets, Marcus secures 3,000 specialized carbon fiber munitions casings from an underground manufacturing facility in Taiwan. These casings are designed to be packed with industrial plastic explosives, which are easily acquired from commercial mining operations throughout Southeast Asia. The math is brutal and unassailable. A single conventional infantry soldier costs a state military hundreds of thousands of dollars to train, equip, and maintain. A swarm of 50 autonomous, explosive-laden drones costs Julian less than $30,000. The drones do not require pensions. They do not get tired. They do not hesitate when ordered to strike. By December 2024, the first shipments begin to arrive in Maruka. They arrive inside standard 40-foot shipping containers, listed on the manifests as water purification equipment, solar panels, and commercial refrigeration units intended for a new eco-resort development project. The local customs official in Olo is a man named Taniela, who earns roughly $400 a month. When Julian hands him an envelope containing $10,000 in crisp $100 bills, Taniela stamps the manifests without looking at the containers. He does not even look Julian in the eye. He simply asks if there will be more containers. Julian tells him there will be many more. Next comes the personnel. A private army needs a human core to manage the technology and secure the physical perimeter. Marcus recruits 35 men. These are not low-level thugs or desperate street fighters. They are professional operators drawn from the specialized units of Eastern Europe and the Balkans. Men who spent their 20s fighting in gray zone conflicts, who found themselves discarded by their governments when the geopolitical winds shifted. They are promised $5,000 a day, paid weekly in Bitcoin. For that price, they ask no questions about the legality of the mission. They care only about the reliability of the payroll and the quality of the gear. They arrive in Maruka in small groups, traveling on tourist visas. They check into the abandoned dive resort that Julian leased on the northern tip of the main island, far from the capital town. The resort is surrounded by dense, primary jungle on 3 sides and faces the open ocean on the 4th. To the local population, the white men with short haircuts and heavy gym bags are engineers and surveyors working on the resort infrastructure. But inside the main dive pavilion, the pool tables and bar counters are covered with disassembled automatic rifles, night vision optics, and tactical satellite terminals. Julian watches the buildup from his bungalow. He tracks every container, every transaction, every flight arrival on his encrypted dashboard. The physical world is responding to his code exactly as he predicted. The money is working. The island is changing. One evening, Marcus walks into Julian's bungalow. It is the first time the two men have met face to face. Marcus is large, sun-reddened, with a thick scar running through his left eyebrow. He looks out of place in the small room, surrounded by Julian's neat arrays of hard drives and network switches. Marcus drops a heavy, military-grade handheld radio onto Julian's desk. "The perimeter network is live," Marcus says. His voice is a low, gravelly rasp. "The satellite links are stable. We have 20 drone swarms fully assembled and calibrated. The men are bored, Vance. They want to know when we actually take the island." Julian looks up from his screen. He adjusts his glasses. His face remains completely blank. "We don't take the island, Marcus," Julian says softly. Taking implies a fight. It implies resistance. We aren't going to fight the local administration. We are going to replace them. We are going to provide the only functional infrastructure this territory has seen in 50 years. Marcus frowns. He leans over the desk. "You're paying millions of dollars for tactical hardware just to play village chief?" "The island is the anchor," Julian says, his voice dropping an octave. "Without a physical piece of earth, we are just internet criminals. The international banks can freeze our assets. The intelligence agencies can track our servers. But if we own a sovereign port, an airstrip, a legal jurisdiction, we become a state that answers to no one, a state that cannot be extradited, subpoenaed, or shut down by a court order. Do you understand now?" Marcus stares at him for a long moment. He realizes then that Julian is not a criminal looking for a score. He is something far more dangerous, a true believer. The regional authorities are going to notice, Marcus says. The Australians have a radar installation 500 miles south. The Americans have satellites. They see 35 foreign combat veterans setting up a drone base on a beach. They don't just ignore it. Julian turns back to his monitor. His fingers begin their silent tap against the keyboard. They only look where they are told to look, Julian says. And right now, I'm about to give them something very large to look at somewhere else.